Hey there. My name is Kevin Okwako. I'm an entrepreneur, been an entrepreneur for about 15 years now, and I work closely with other entrepreneurs as well. So there's something I thought of sharing today. It's something I know I went through during my building journey, and that sometimes I find myself there places where the things I need to stop doing, but for some reason I don't stop. And so the reason I thought of coming up with this video is just to share things to look out for so that you don't keep working on things that you need to stop working on and actually build things that matter. I see it as a common problem, even with the entrepreneurs I work with, not knowing when to quit, when to stop, and so I thought I could share a few things I've learned over the years and some of the things I have been reading around. What I'll give you in this video, one, it's that validation that at times you actually need to quit. Two, it's just to understand why is it hard to quit and give you the psychological reasons behind it because at times it's not a logical decision. And then finally, give you tactics that will be really helpful for you even as you consider changing direction. And so, as a disclaimer, I know the word quit, especially for entrepreneurs, is something they don't like saying. And so we use words like pivot, iterate, changing direction. So if you find yourself saying such words of thinking or such words, I'm speaking to you as well. So I intentionally use the word quit just to yeah, stir it up. But what I mean underlying is just pivot, iterate, or changing direction. So let's start. Many entrepreneurs, as you're building, the one thing that many people don't think of is the possibility of quitting. And so, even when you look at people who've been successful, a lot of the stories that we hear are of people who have stayed the long term. They have toiled for years, toiled for a while, kept on grinding until they success. And the lesson you often learn is you never give up, you keep on striving, you keep going. So the question is, can you actually quit? But then the flip side to that is, and I love this this sentence. It's true that in order to be successful, you actually need to, stay at something for a while. But it doesn't mean if you stick to something that makes you successful. So if you're sticking to the wrong thing, you will not be successful. And so the aim today is just to show ways to recognize whether what you're sticking with is worth sticking with in the first place. Yes, you need to stick it out, but if you're sticking it out on the wrong thing, then you'll actually fail. So let's start. So why is it so hard for entrepreneurs to actually quit? And entrepreneurs, even other people, but specifically to entrepreneurs, why is it so hard? Why is it when things don't seem to be working, that is when we actually put in more effort and do even more work, yet that's the thing that will make us fail. That's the same thing that will not make us succeed. And so, as I was thinking about this thing, I have read a few interesting things and I've also looked into my life, and three things came up. And the thing with these three psychological things that happen in our minds as we think about situations that we probably should be changing from, they actually build on each other. So the longer you're doing them, the worse they become. So they are continuously reinforcing. And I'll break them down in three parts. So the first one is status quo bias. Um, the idea here is once you start doing something, you tend to stick to it and fear changing. And research has shown that if you change and the thing you change to fails, the pain you feel from changing is actually worse than the pain you're feeling before changing. Yet, both of them are failures. And so we tend to stick to what we're already doing because that fear of what if I change and it actually fails is a bigger fear. And so it holds us back. So many people remain where they are, they maintain the status quo and do not change. And so that's the first thing that happens. We have this bias to remain where we are, that bias to remain with the status quo. But the thing with remaining with that bias, it leads to the second thing, something called the sunk cost fallacy. And how this plays out is, as an entrepreneur, you keep thinking, I have put so much time, so much effort, so much money in this thing. And so you don't see yourself letting it go. And so the the consequence is you keep doing something despite it not working. So it starts as a status quo bias where you keep doing things because you fear switching will actually be worse. But then because you did that and you do it for a while, you start recognizing down the line, months later, years later, that you've put in so much. And so you don't even want to change. And so now you want to maintain where you are because you're looking at the cost of what you have already put in. But the big question you should really be asking yourself is, do you want to keep wasting the time? Do you want to keep wasting the money? Unfortunately, many people don't stop and actually ask that question, because if they do, they probably change. But if they don't and they keep staying there with this sunk cost fallacy, the third thing emerges. And this is the founder identity. The more you do things, the more they become you. And so it starts as one, you did not change because of maintaining status quo. And then two, after a while, you do not change because now you're looking at what you've already put in and you don't want to lose it. But then after a while, it becomes you. And so it becomes even harder to live it. And it's usually hard to live who you are because now you've taken this new identity. People know you for this thing. So you can't change at this point. And so this is why I was saying it's a vicious cycle. It starts off easy. If you had changed earlier, it would have been easier. But by the time you hit this third step, it's already part of you and it's really, really hard to change. But it's not all gloom and doom. So the question is, how do you quit better? How do you actually come to a place where you can recognize this thing is not working? And so there's no need for you to keep at it, where you can shift, you can pivot, you can iterate, you can do something different and have a better outcome. And this is a skill I have found to be very underrated because many people do not know when to stop. And it's a very thin line because, on one end, you do not want people who keep quitting, but at the same time, you do not want to keep doing things that are not working. So, how do you get to this balance of you can quickly recognize this thing will not work early enough, yet not saying you quit at everything, but knowing this is the point at which I need to quit, that you've actually put the effort, you've grinded it out for a while, but it's not working. And so, how do you actually know this is the time to flip? And so to demonstrate this, I want to give us a scenario in our minds. This is an example I found online, which I thought was very interesting. And here's an idea. Let's think that we want to create a performance, a show. And during this show, we want to train a monkey to juggle flames while standing on a pedestal. And this is the whole idea. And if you can actually execute this, people will pay you a lot of money. So this is the idea you have in mind. But how do you know whether this idea will work or not? Early enough before you even build. And so let us think through together. The first step, if this is your idea, that how do I want to train a monkey to juggle flames while standing on a pedestal and then get money from it. Step one, train the monkey before you build the pedestal. What does that mean? If you can't get that monkey to juggle the flames even while standing on ground, everything fails. The problem is most entrepreneurs start by building the pedestal. Most entrepreneurs focus on the easy thing. The hard thing with this idea is actually to get the monkey to juggle the flames. It's not the pedestal on which the monkey will stand on. Most entrepreneurs, when they encounter hard things, they switch and start doing the easier things. And there are two problems with that. One, if you never solve the hard thing, that thing will never work. So you're better off not starting. So you're better off taking your time, digging deeper and seeing whether that thing can be solved. And if you come to a place where it can't be solved, then you know where to stop. But the second problem is, if you put effort in building the pedestal, you start doing that vicious cycle that I spoke of earlier. One, you get to a place where you start maintaining status quo because you're doing small incremental things. You think you're actually progressing. You think you're actually doing better. And so you remain at that place when the monkey is not working, but at least you have the pedestal. Now, the problem is after a while you have built the pedestal, you get to a place where you look at the sunk cost. You already have a pedestal. And so now you're stuck there. but the monkey is still not juggling the flames. So you're still struggling to make the monkey juggle the flames, but you've already put in time, money, and effort in building the pedestal. And then it leads you to the third thing, where now your identity becomes the person who's training a monkey to juggle flames, but not actually the person who has a monkey that juggles flames. And then it becomes a part of you. And this is the first problem that entrepreneurs do that I have found. And I have fallen victim to this as well. You have this grand idea, but you haven't identified what's the riskiest assumption, that if you can't execute on this particular thing, everything else fails. Because unless you see that, unless that's very clear and you decide to solve that problem, then you're wasting time. You're focusing on the pedestal. So, step one, focus on training the monkey first. Step two, set a specific kill criteria. And here is what I mean. When you have decided that the monkey is the first thing to be trained, set a kill criteria. And what that looks like is you're saying, if this monkey does not juggle these flames by the end of 6 months, then I will stop this whole thing. What that makes you do, it gives you a clear outcome that you're looking for, but it also gives you a clear timeline where you can put in cost and it no longer looks like sunk cost. It's more like research cost because you want to avoid these things that we stated earlier on the vicious cycle where you maintain the status quo when things are not working. Now you're fixed and you can quickly know whether it's working or not. But at the same time, it reduces your sunk cost because you've defined a timeline that is affordable to you, that when you back out at this point, you won't feel the loss. And then it's also a short enough time for it not to take up your identity. And the whole idea behind this is if you set these barriers, these criteria, you get into a flow where you know exactly what you're testing and you know exactly what you need to achieve to know whether to quit or not. Many people don't even reach this step. If you actually set that this is the hardest thing, the next thing is to set, okay, how long am I working on this hard thing? And if that does not work, what next? Set that specific criteria. But those who actually get to this point, there's one more point that I think you need to put in place. And this might sound offbeat, but you need to get someone I call a quitting coach. Simply put, at times decisions get emotional. You need someone who's outside your decision, who sees it differently from you. I know many of times you have seen other founders or other people building things that you, in your eyes, these things will not work, but to them they keep grinding. And the reason is because they're so in it, they can't see other things that people who are outside can see. And so you need someone that you trust, that you're confident in, that they will give you information that's worth listening to, and that they will tell you when it's time to quit. Tell them your kill criteria so that they know at this point, if this thing is not working, I will make it known and then I will help them leave. So, those are the three main things to do. One, train the monkey first. Two, set a specific kill criteria. And then three, get a quitting coach. And once you do these things, the entrepreneurial journey becomes way fun and way easy. I'm hoping that by the end of this video, entrepreneurs will start seeing that they can actually quit or pivot or iterate or change direction. But now they also have ways to actually do it that is more informed. And the end of the day, remember, entrepreneurship by itself is hard, and life is too short to be working on things that are not worth your time. Have a blessed day.